Hello, darkness, my old friend. My name is Jay, and I'm a lifelong fan of Manchester United. Joe?
Hello, Jay. Yeah. I don't know if you want me to continue with the lyrics, but my name is Joe Neal, and I am a lifelong fan of Manchester United Football Club.
Kevin?
Yes, you've already introduced me. I am Kevin, lifelong Manchester United fan, and it's taken a lot for me to come here today and discuss what I've just watched. So be prepared, and I will tell my story.
Jordan?
I'm Jordan, and for my sins in a former life, I am a lifelong Man United fan.
And there you have it, everybody watching. Welcome to the Therapy Stand. Today, possession 67% versus 33. Shots on target 3 versus 2. Shots 22 v 10. Passes 664 v 331. And we draw 0-0 at home to the second last team in the table. Game should have been put to bed by half time. Bruno's finishing today was schoolboy level. I saw somebody tweet that our forward line was a team of Timo Werners. To be fair, Ronaldo's effort from pretty much the penalty spot, that was another day. That's back at the net. I really don't know, gentlemen, how to start this show because I'm so despondent. I'm here with a page of notes, and the first 45 minutes, it was, I would argue, probably the best 45 minutes I've seen the last 2 or 3 years. And I'm thinking at half time, okay, we're going to go out now, second half, and Ronaldo's going to walk away with 2 or 3. Alanga is probably going to get 1. It's going to be 3-4-0. And yet here we are, gentlemen, today with another rendition of the Therapy Stand. Kevin, I'll go to you first because I know your dog got choked a lot during the show. The poor little animal. I hope he's okay now.
Yeah. She's fine, Jay. She's fine. She's only 1 year old, so I've obviously had to bring her into the Manchester United family. So watching United at the minute is quite tough. But if we're going to talk about the match today, I think you've summed it up great. 45 minutes. I'm at half-time thinking it's only a matter of time before Manchester United score. And the longer the game went on, we didn't take our chances. As a performance, I don't think it was... I think we've seen a lot worse under this manager where you look and you're not... There's nothing there, no inspiration or anything. But the team selection, Harry Maguire not being in, something we spoke about last night, me and you, Jay, and we were like, no, he'll be in there. It was a big call. And listen, Watford didn't really trouble us that much. I think David De Gea could have, got his cigar out, deck chair and all that for certain stages of that game. And the fact that Ben Foster's been named man of the match tells a story in itself. But there are a few little things. And listen, we need to talk about it on the old therapy forum. And the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't want to slag him, but there comes a point that people call him the GOAT, the greatest of all time, where today I thought he actually played like a GOAT. And I don't mean the greatest of all time. I mean, that. And I thought his body language, sorry, Joe, I know that was terrible. I thought his body language was terrible. I know he's trying to get into a game and stuff, but I don't know. Is it up for debate? Are we as Manchester United fans allowed to actually debate Cristiano Ronaldo? It also almost comes to this point where he's like immune from criticism. Sorry, Jordan. And, you look and you think, well, I don't think he's put it in today. I really don't. He cannot be immune from criticism. This is a guy that might not be here next season. So we're looking at the bigger picture. I'm thinking he looked disinterested and he had a few chances and that, but body language wise, it's something we've spoke about before. He shouldn't be immune from criticism. But when you're relying on a player like Matic to be spraying Hollywood passes, which he did, but on the 60th minute or whatever, we know that his legs are going to tire. That's one for the manager to pick up on. It's an area that we are short in. Jadon Sancho probably should have started the game for me. He brings him on at whatever time, and United they're just chasing it. I do really think that on another day Manchester United do beat Watford. I'll go as far as to say that. The disappointing thing today is the fact that feels like a defeat, and we've drawn a match that we should have won. And at half-time, I'm sat there licking my lips thinking, we're going to do these. It's only a matter of time, and once the first one goes in, the floodgates open. But for some reason, second half, we kept the intensity up, didn't we? We did keep probing, asking questions, but we just couldn't break them down.
I think, Kevin, you've raised a very, very pertinent point there. No player is beyond criticism. And the four of us sitting here, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't call out Ronaldo today. I didn't call out Bruno. And because, we're very fast to call out Fred, Scott McTominay, Maguire, game in, game out. So I think it's only right today that we do call out Bruno. We do call out Ronaldo. And today, Kevin, I agree. He did play like a GOAT. Jordan, Mr. Ronaldo today, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to... I'm seeing people in the comments, and everyone's asking, make sure that you go in on Ronaldo the way you guys go in on Fred and McTominay. People saying, Maguire. We didn't lose that game because Maguire didn't start. First of all, guys, people in the comments that are throwing shade. I think the Ronaldo thing is interesting. I look at it today. In that first half, we could have scored 4. And what seems to happen is that if we don't put teams to the sword in the first half, our energy levels drop in the second half, and it's always a struggle. And at half-time today, I thought, do you know what, some of the best football I've seen us play, but the concern was that we never got a goal or even a second goal to be able to see off the game in the second half. I think the issue with Ronaldo is that at the age he is, and as fit as everyone says he is, and as great as he's been in the past, the pace and the physicality of the Premier League, he was never going to be able to do it week in, week out. The issue we've got is Greenwood, who is supposed to be our other striker, is not available and can't take the pressure off. And the amount of games that Cavani's missed and is never available. So again, we are having to be over-reliant on Ronaldo. So when we're playing, 3 games in 6 days, how many minutes is that Ronaldo's... how many minutes has Ronaldo played? And this is the issue. So it's very easy to sit here and throw shade. Yes, he should have finished those chances. But guys, like our squad has gone from being top heavy to threadbare in one transfer window. I think the Matic situation was highlighted again today because, again, he clearly understands the position better than any other central midfielder in our squad. He gives the ability for us to play a much higher line. I felt like the centre-backs felt more confident and were able to play higher up. But like you said, he's got about 32 minutes in him. And you've seen it drop again when his energy levels drop. And this is all over the pitch. We've gone from being a young, vibrant squad to suddenly being over the hill. And it is a massive rebuilding job that whoever comes in the summer has to do. And they have to be back. I swing it back to the board. The board have to spend money and move some of the deadwood. And it's not just deadwood, it's just players that are at an age where they cannot commit to the physicality of the Premier League across a full season.
Jordan, I take your point on Matic today. I watched him very closely because I almost liked Matic as a player, and I feel if he's not starting games, you bring him on with 20 minutes to go just to calm things down and for his experience. But our previous manager wasn't doing that. But today, barring Sancho not being selected, I don't think any of us had issue with team selection. You probably could have argued Delo for Armor Bissaka, but Armor Bissaka, to his credit, he was decent today, and I think he linked up very, very well with Elanga. We'll go into Elanga in a minute, but I think it was. I have it here. First, we were passed by Matic was in the 61st minute, and for me, from the 50th minute to 70th minute, I felt Watford really started going to the game.
Yeah,
they really went at it. So we've drawn it home today, Joe, to 4-4-2 pie and chips football from Rod Hodgson today at home. And top 4 for me, it's gone. Arsenal have 2 games in hand. So if you cannot beat Watford at home, I'm sorry, Joe, but you don't deserve to be top 4. What are your thoughts on the whole Matic playing today, the Ronaldo, and is top 4 gone for you, Joe?
Top. I don't think. Look, until it's mathematically gone, it's never gone, and especially because the teams below Liverpool and City just aren't consistent at all. So you never know. It could end up happening. But I would stick to the point is I don't think we're good enough to be in the Champions League, because I don't want to be in a tournament that we can't physically win. You know, that I don't feel we can be good enough to win. So like, I don't feel we're good enough to be a Champions League team. I think there's every possibility we might still scrape in, but I really don't think we deserve it. The likes of Matic and Ronaldo, look, we should not be relying on these guys. Ronaldo is older than the son. Matic isn't that far behind him. Like, we should be looking at bringing young players through. I know a couple of them obviously can't be picked for specific reasons, but it's pretty damning for a fact that we have Ronaldo leading the line 3 games and 6. And I think a huge part, Jordan and Kev, you're dead right in everything you're saying. Jordan making points, especially on Cavani not making himself available, I think is a huge thing. And I don't feel there is a thing of Ronaldo not caring or not giving his all, because I do think he is, but I just think his all is nowhere near what it used to be. So I do think he is trying. He just physically isn't the player that we're so used to seeing over the past 2 decades. So I don't think he can. And the physicality in the Premier League we'll say it's gotten more tough, but like, he's just not up for it anymore. He physically can't do it anymore. And I think his goal, and we'd be saying it differently if he was banging the goals like he was at the beginning of the season, or if he was in Champions League group stages. We're saying, oh, he's still relevant to the team, because no matter what, there might be stuff we're losing from him, but we're gaining it from goals. But the fact is, we're not getting the goals. He should never be a player that we're relying on him to start week in, week out, game in, game out, because he just can't do it anymore. So I don't entirely blame him, because I do think he's given his all, but I think his all is just so far below. And let's be honest, we'll be having this debate, I think, at the end of the season, but there is a huge argument to say the City condescend to him. Either they, because I think he would be a far better player at City, because they wouldn't be as reliant on him to do anything. They just put him in the box and throw it in there. But for him going in to say they got him, made a team that was fighting, we'll say maybe not fighting for the title, but we're second and we're third the year before, are now whatever we are. I don't even know. We might still be top 4, but we're not top 4 because we're games behind. So I think we have regressed so much, and there's really other than Elanga, which I know, Jay, we're going to get into very soon, there's very little optimism in this team, and I don't really know, whoever the next manager is, I don't know where they start.
Sure, that's a very interesting point you raised there, but how many goals would Ronaldo have if he's playing for City? Because with City, he can literally just be the fox in the box. Yeah. He doesn't have to track back. He's not coming back into midfield. He's not going to be like he was against Atleti on Tuesday night, surrounded by 3 defenders pretty much every time he got the ball. Plus the fact then, add into that our crossing is absolutely abysmal. It is shocking. Like, the club made a big song and dance about it. We hired a set pieces coach. Yet it took 140 corners before last week Slabhead got his finally scored from a corner. Our free kicks are non-existent. You may just pass it back to the goalkeeper. Luke Shaw came on today for Tellez, who personally I thought he was decent. I would have taken off. I think Tellez, for me, he's a better delivery of the ball than Shaw is. But we got a free kick there. It was the 78th minute, if I'm correct, and the ball ended up literally in Rosette. So I flagged here. Luke Shaw crossing, I think, terrible. Our corner kick delivery is terrible, and our set plays are schoolboy level. So I know we got to play to Ronaldo's strengths, but we're not. The only goal, to my knowledge, and people in the free chat may be able to find another goal, because I certainly don't know it all. Champions League game, Luke Shaw crossed in for Ronaldo. I can't remember against who. Ronaldo gets that header. I cannot remember any other game this season that a cross put in for Ronaldo, who, the phrase leapt like a salmon, knocks it back. I cannot remember any other game this season that Ronaldo gets that delivery and scores from a header. We have one of the best crosses of the game, 800 plus goals. And I know it's referred to as a graveyard shift. Today, yes, Ronaldo wasn't clinical. Gentlemen, I take your point. 3 games in a very short period of time. That is where you need Cavani to step up to the breach. Cavani has been unavailable for 75% of the games since come to the club. Yeah. So the question then is, should the previous manager and the current manager not have treated Mr. Martial with a little bit more respect because today we could have Martial off the bench, 20 minutes to go to lead the line. Kevin Nash, what do you think?
Treat Martial with respect. What
I just said a little more respect.
What, the man that actually refused to be part of the match day squad against Norwich? If
I'm just throwing out you, Kevin.
Yeah, no. That's why I would say that's that's a bit fresh, that one, mate. Should he be treated with more respect? I've said the other day, and Jordan's touched on it as well. It's a really good point that at the start of the season, Manchester United's bench saved us lots of times because we could dip into that, and we had a star-studded bench. Some people would argue that it was almost as strong as the starting 11, or that some of the players that were out there sometimes. But you knew, come up to half-time, 60th minute, if you want to change it up, you can make 2 or 3 subs, and I mean game changers. And I will include Martial in that. There is no doubt that there is a player in Martial. But for some reason, United have let him go. They've let Donny van der Beek go. And even midweek, the camera pans to the bench, and you see the likes of Juan Mata. I mean, God love him. I love Juan Mata. But again, there comes a stage where you have to sort of disconnect from that. Yeah, he's a top bloke. You know, he does a blog on United or whatever. Fair enough, mate. But it's all to do with what's happening on the field at Manchester United. And when we've got the likes of Mata and that sat on the bench, and you're looking to change a game in a Champions League knockout game against Atletico Madrid, and that's the kind of sort of clientele that you or personnel that you've got to bring on, you do look and you're worried. You're genuinely worried and think, Jesus, this rebuild is a hell of a lot bigger than I think even probably Ralph Rangnick thought when he took over at Manchester United. When you look at the forward line, we could easily lose Ronaldo, Cavani, Greenwood. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with that. Not looking good. You've got 3 sort of top quality players there that, you know, are not going to be at Manchester United next year. Where's the money coming from to replace these players? Because Marcus Rashford, number 9 at Manchester United, not having it. Well, I'll go back to the Ronaldo thing, right? Certainly not impressed with the performance and everything today. If he was at Manchester City, he would have scored a bag full of goals. And it's simply down to the way that Manchester City play.
But I think... I
honestly think City more or less walked the ball in the net. I think they would have created chances, literally put it on a plate for him. Whereas Jay says, United, we're trying to whip crosses in, and nobody's kind of prolific in whipping crosses in at Manchester United. We're not utilising Cavani or Ronaldo, I think, when they play. They are certainly starved of service.
Yeah, but guys, just on this point, everyone keeps saying about, you know, Ronaldo, if he went and signed for Man City, how many goals he'd score. I think the biggest thing about if he went and signed for Man City is they wouldn't be reliant on him. They've got a squad. That means that they would cherry pick the games he plays and manage his own energy levels. Playing him 3 times in a week, we're never going to get the best out of him.
I'm just going to say that. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it drops back to the state of our squad, which is what I was saying about your Cavani's and the Greenwood situation, and the fact Rashford can hit a barn door with a shotgun. It's everything behind Ronaldo. And people in the comments throwing shade at Ronaldo. It's not, guys. Look at the squad. The squad is absolutely knackered.
Yeah, Jordan, I certainly wouldn't agree with that. The squad is definitely knackered. I've got no question about that whatsoever. But at least we have a manager that's not afraid to bring on subs after an hour or 65 minutes. But it goes back to what subs do you have on the bench? And as Kevin pointed out there during the week, the camera panned to Mata, lovely guy and all that. End of the day, lads, we're 4 lovely guys, but neither of us should be on the bench for Man United, should we? No, we definitely shouldn't. Joe, I want to move the conversation on. Today, we finally saw the much maligned high line today that we haven't played. I honestly cannot remember the last time I saw us play a high line. We didn't concede, which is a rarity for us. So Varane beside a ball playing centre back in Lindelof, and one CDM allowed Fred to go box to box. But yet, as we've seen in the comments and on Twitter, we have people saying we still didn't win, and Harry wasn't there, so Harry isn't the problem. I would argue, Joe, today. I would argue today, with Harry Maguire in that team, we're sitting much deeper. We don't play a high line, and Roy Hodgson's 4-4-2, as I call it, a point-chase football, would have caught us from the break, and we probably could have lost 1-0 today towards the end of that game.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of semantics that you can go through there that it's hard to pinpoint, because the fact is that with how we played, we drew 0-0, and I do believe if we were playing with Harry Maguire, I still think we wouldn't have won. It would have been a 0-0 draw, but I think there would have been more shaky moments. But I completely understand where you're coming from on that, and I think no matter what way we're playing, I'm always a little bit afraid because unless we go 2 up, or even we'd have probably to go 3 up for me to be kind of being like, I think we're all right. But anytime Watford had the ball and past the halfway line, especially after I got maybe 60 minutes when they start playing more into the game, I was scared. I really, really was. But we had them under control, but we really can't give too much credit for that. We can't drop our standards so low that we managed to keep a clean sheet, at all at home, let alone against, for me, the worst team in the league. Like, we should be able to play high lines against Watford with one defence midfielder and be throwing everything at them, annihilate them in the first half an hour, and then go on from there. But it's what I've been saying. I put up on Twitter today, like, I don't think this result we can put down the Ragnick, because I think he made the change at the right time. I think he made the right changes. There was a lot of stuff out of his hands. He doesn't have the players that he'd want there. But, like, there was a million opportunities where the ball should have been put in the back of the net in the first 10 minutes, where you're like, this game should have been out of sight. So, like, there's a massive confidence issue, and I don't know what it is. Because I know he's after bringing in a sports psychologist, which is great. And I'm surprised there wasn't one at the club already. And he's there for a little while. So maybe we will see the benefits of that in about 6 months' time. But there is a massive issue. And I think that problem, and I don't want, like, he didn't play today. There was no minutes of him on the ball whatsoever. Many people would be happy about that. But so I don't want to really put the nail in Maguire's coffin now. But, like, there is a massive factor when the fact that your captain, your leader, is Harry Maguire.
Hey, Joe, leader. Come on now.
I know.
Leadership.
Okay. On paper only, we'll say he is our leader, and you're like, that for me does not inspire. It could be a subconscious thing in the player, but that doesn't inspire confidence when you know the first team in every team sheet. I know, like, obviously today's the outlier is going to be Harry Maguire, so he's safe no matter what. But there just needs to be a lot of stuff that's going to change, and it needs to be a lot of big names that get out the door. And it's like, I really want to talk about the positive, which is Onyelanga, but there's very little to talk about in this game. But I put it on Twitter as well that there was no positive to take from this game, even if we'd won it. Right? There's no positives from beating any team below the top 6 at home that we can take. Other than a good performance and a couple of goals, there should be standard wins at home. But a 0-0 draw, like, Jay, we did the 5-0 loss against Liverpool. Now, nothing is ever going to be as low as that. Luckily, I was pretty pissed on the day, so it's a bit more of a numbing pain when I look back on it. But like, this is pretty much as low as you can feel for a game you haven't lost, because it's just, there's nothing happening. There was nothing happening.
It was a huge, for United to get the 3 points today, for me, was huge, because you look at the month of March.
Well, yeah.
If we could have registered 3 points on the board today, it keeps us sort of just clinging on. But now the fact that we've drawn the game, Arsenal have got the games in hand. Tottenham have gone and beaten Leeds today, which everybody does anyway.
Yeah.
But you look at the month of March, and you've got Manchester City away. We've got Atletico thrown in there, Tottenham at home, and Liverpool away towards the end of the month. All of a sudden, by the end of March, I mean, I know the title of this video is Top 4 Gone. But by the end, a lot of us will probably agree now that there is absolutely no chance, although it's still mathematically there. Does anybody expect us really to get anything against Manchester City? Tottenham is a 50-50 game. You don't know what you're going to get from Tottenham, and Liverpool away again. You just look at it and think, we really needed to register 3 points, but yeah, I'm not picking up the mood in any way here. I understand what I've just said, but you just need to open your eyes to look at a little bit further forward and think, shit, by the end of March, once this table starts shaping up, Arsenal have played their games in hand, and once it starts levelling up, where could Manchester United actually possibly be? And that's a worrying thing.
Jordan, after hearing Kevin, right, I'm thinking now, come Tuesday, we're entering March again.
Love it.
We literally
Trademark
are,
that.
man.
Yeah, like that.
Jay,
Yeah,
Jay,
hashtag that, lads.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you
March
do in your
together.
spare time when you're at the gym? How does your brain come up with this shit? Like, what happens? What's in this protein that you're consuming? Marchageddon. It's borderline genius. But it was all doom and gloom after Ken's rant then, and then you've just dropped that bombshell.
Mic drop.
The highs and lows of the United stands.
Yeah. We might as well just end the show there now. You've been watching the United Stand. Thank you very much, everybody.
Remember, Jordan, how we opened it. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm a lifelong Man United fan. So, Jordan, March again. Are you having it?
I said we needed to stockpile points in Feb because of the minefield that was March. And I guess what? We didn't. But it honestly, like, all banter aside, it wouldn't surprise me if we threw a run of games together in March and actually picked up, a couple of wins and a couple of draws. Like, it really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Like, it would be typical because I don't know if you remember, under Ollie, that's exactly what would happen. Our backs would be against the wall. We'd have a run of crap results against the lower league teams, and then we'd go and turn over Man City. These players, you just never know what you're going to get out of them.
So these players, it's like the
film. We're getting beat all about.
You know what it's like then? These players, and I think I said it on a show probably 2 years ago. I said these players are like the scene in Forrest Gump. They're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So we might put them together in Marchageddon. Who knows?
Yeah.
So can we go into, for me, guys, I'm taking 3 positives from today. Okay.
Wow, Trey.
Matic can still do a job for 65 minutes. He can sit in front of that back four and allow us to play at the high line. He is arguably one of our most composed and comfortable players on the ball, for me. Aaron Wan-Bissaka came back today, and he's been slagged off a lot in the fan base because, to be fair, Delo has been decent. But today, his link-up play with Elanga, I thought today was actually excellent. There was a passage of play, guys, that I flagged, and it was, of course, I have loads of notes here, of course I have, as usual. I was in the 48th minute, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka got the ball from Lindelof, went down the line, spotted Elanga making a run. Now, he overhit the pass, and Elanga had to sprint after the ball, just got to the byline and got the cross in. So what I'm gleaning from that is that Elanga, in his youth and his motivation that he has in him to perform for the club, he'll even chase those balls that overhit and those half chances. And finally, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has a player that's willing to put in those extra yards and that extra effort, because sure as hell, Rashford won't do it. Rashford come on today, and again, he was a ghost again for me. I don't know how you read Rashford's performance today, but I'm picking Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Elanga link-up play today. I loved it. And Jadon Sancho, lads, should have started. I know on Tuesday night, I called for Paul Pogba out in the wing, but Pogba today, lads, he was a passenger. I thought when Sancho came on the left, I thought he ran the show. I thought he was so composed on the ball. If anyone wants to jump in there, feel free. We put it apart.
Well, I do agree. I know the point was made earlier on that Sancho should have started. That would be the only change you would have made. And I feel like on his performance from the week, that absolutely, and for the last few games. But like my feeling is that like the players need to be rotated. Like, playing against Watford, someone come up and make a name for themselves, and I felt Elanga deserved to start. But so he deserved to have a rest as well, which because we shouldn't have to rely on him. And I kind of agree with you. I thought Pogba had like little moments where it looked like he might be about to get in for an assist or something like that, but overall not great. And I think he did last the full game, didn't he?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. Just about, yeah. He made this is his first full game back.
Yeah.
Since his injury, yeah. So
who've we got to bring on for him?
That's it, yeah. And I completely agree.
Good
I think
point.
Matic,
Good point.
we all know that, like, Matic, if he was 4 years younger, like, we would be, well, we'd be playing heights above than what we are now. I completely agree on that. But the fact is, we just can't, like, we need to be moving on from this. We shouldn't be in a position where we're like, well, Matic can do it for 60 minutes. We should have brought Ruben Neves in, who can do it for 90 minutes consistently, week in, week out. You know, and then rely on Matic when there's an injury. We shouldn't be like, there shouldn't be this thing to get Matic on the pitch. It should be like, well, he's there if we need him. So I think even in the positives, they kind of show the negatives that are really in the club, unfortunately. And it's good to see Wan-Bissaka back doing a bit, but it's just very little. There's very little to take. There's very little to take from any positives from this game. But I do appreciate the effort in trying to find some, Jay.
So Kevin,
wait, guys, there's a there's a comment and I can't ignore it. James Reed, the reindeer shed his antlers. I think that's for you, Joe.
Oh, boom!
Yes.
Thank you, James.
Big respect, James Reed. Big respect. That's a good one.
That is a throwback. Thanks, James.
That is a throwback.
There's a super chat here from a guy called Isaac, and he says, Wan-Bissaka has been good on the ball since he's been back. Yeah, look, he's been decent on the ball since he's come back, but I do like that he can see the work rate from Elanga, the work rate that we don't see from Rashford, because I don't know what's wrong with Rashford. That could be a whole show in itself. Kevin, I was trying to extrapolate some positives from today. Do you think today was a case of could have, should have, would have, but basically didn't and couldn't?
As a result, you mean as the game today?
A general performance.
Yeah, I said earlier. I think if we played them again any other day of the week, a bit like the Middlesbrough game, I think we would beat them. I really do. I don't know, man. I'm putting it down to a bad day at the office. It is the fact that we've drawn 0-0. But as a performance, I'd go as far as to say that under Rangnick, a 90-minute performance, it's probably up there. And you're all right. But Paul Pogba at a certain stage of the game was definitely blowing. You looked and thought, but that's why I've just said, who do you actually bring on to change him? And that's where it comes down to squad depth. But as a performance over 90 minutes, I'd go to say the intensity and the way that we actually played, although we beat Leeds 4-2, it was probably a better performance on field than it was against Leeds. The difference was against Leeds, we got the goals. And like Joe says, the one shining light at the minute is Elanga. Elanga is now, what is he, 19 years old? It is showing Marcus Rashford up big time. Marcus Rashford will be looking over his shoulder and going, who's this kid? He's a raw talent. From Rangnick's perspective, what a great player to actually work with. You've got a player there you can mould. He wants to listen. He wants to learn. Whatever you tell him, give him an instruction, he will carry it out because he wants to play for Manchester United. And that's the main thing for me. When you've got somebody that wants to learn, you can throw him in net. You know, he might be a little bit disappointed. The lad just wants to play football. He wants to play for Manchester United. Whereas in stark contrast, Marcus Rashford at the minute is just, Elanga's going sort of this way and Marcus Rashford's coming down on the other side and sloping down, where I thought it was anonymous today. Like you say, a ghost. Yeah. He comes on, you're looking for some kind of spark, something, a bit of energy, which Rashford does give you. But by God, I mean, he is stepping back in time. He is literally going backwards at Manchester United. And the one shining light, as the song goes, you know, the Rhythm is a Dancer song, Anthony Elanga, you know, he's United's saviour. And that's what we're, you know, pinning our hopes on. We shouldn't be. Manchester United, man, and we're putting so much pressure on a 19-year-old to, you know, fulfill his potential. We hope he does, but my God, you can't put it all, you know, down to Elanga. But he has been fantastic, a breath of fresh air.
Just my worry is, and I don't want to, when I say this, I don't want to take any away from how great Elanga has been, but it seems like every 2 years or so since the post-Fergie era, we've kind of hung everything on one specific up-and-coming young attacking player. We had Januzaj, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood,
Makeda,
for different.
Makeda.
Well, that was in the good times though. But yeah, but like you have it like basically every 2 years. Like I said, it's was Januzaj, then Martial, then Rashford, then Greenwood, and now it's Elanga. And the thing is, we have to look at why none of them have done anything. You know, Rashford had, I think it's had the longest life of a player who, like we only look back at last season, although he wasn't playing well, he's playing with injuries, his stats were excellent. So, but like he is declining rapidly. Hopefully he comes back. But we have to wonder why these players aren't progressing as they're supposed to. Like, is our coaching, is our entire staff, are they just so behind everyone else that we can't, if we have a good thing, it rots away? Like, there's a lot of deeper issues than just the players not playing well. It has to be, why is it consistently we're not being able to bring youth players into the first team and for them to consistently play well up to whatever potential they have? Because no other top club really has that issue.
There's clicks in that dressing room.
Come on.
Wales, yeah.
Wales go try.
Sorry, guys, I forgot where I was there for a second.
It's against England, so we're
back in the room.
Wales got to try. So it's 77, guys. Jordan, now, yeah? 77, yes?
Yeah. If we get this conversion, yeah.
Okay, love it. Okay,
rugby stand.
Yeah. The rugby stand. Hey, look at. I don't know about Joe and Kev, but Jordan and I are massive rugby fans as well. Massive.
You're from Limerick. So
I genuinely forgot where I was for a second.
It's okay, Jordan. Listen, Jordan, it's the only joy you're going to get today, so embrace it, my friend. Embrace the fact that Wales could beat England. I know if Wales beat England today, my countryman beside you, Joe, he'll be ecstatic, no doubt, in my mind.
I'm always happy for my Celtic cousins, especially when it's against the Brits. So you.
But see, Jordan, I'm not like that. Like, I actually, in tournaments, I actually want England to do well, because I haven't been on cheer on the Republic of Ireland tournaments so long. So I actually want England to do well, and I've got no problem with that. I did
until Goldbridge absolutely punished me when Wales went out.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm still haunted by it, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, still haunted.
I want to go back to the point that Joe was making. It's an interesting point that we kind of hinge our hopes our last couple of years on one young up-and-coming player that's going to be the best thing since sliced bread, and why that player doesn't morph into the world beater or the player that we all think he should be. In my opinion, and obviously Kevin and Jordan, I want you to come in on it. I think it's because the dressing room is absolutely and utterly devoid of leaders. There's nobody in the dressing room that literally can take a young, up-and-coming, potential superstar under their wing and show them how to live the life as a pro, and ultimately make those small little changes to their game that ultimately in 5 years' time, that player reaches their potential. I think for me, the last leader in that dressing room before Ronaldo was Ibrahimovic. Since Ibra left, for me, the dressing room has been devoid of characters, devoid of leaders. And I think there's credence to that, because when the class of 92 were coming through, we probably had 8 or 9 leaders in a dressing room. And that is why I think those players were able to be brought into the squad and ultimately became first-team players and played for the club for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Kevin, what do you think?
I think it's a really interesting point. Even if you go back to when Manchester United won the Premier League for the first time, that was a team of captains. I don't think it necessarily made much of a difference who wore the armband at Manchester United. You had the likes of Bruce, Pallister, Irwin, Cantona, Hughes, Ince, Keane. You know, any one of them could have bought, like you rightly say, it doesn't matter who has the armband. You've got a collective team of players that are leaders. They're not individuals. And that's what Manchester United are at the minute. That's the worrying thing is we are, don't get me wrong, some of these individuals are absolutely fantastic, but we're a team of individuals that don't really play as a team. The last great Manchester United team of recent times, 2008, that won the Champions League and the Premier League. Again, Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, Paul Scholes, Giggs was still in the team, Ronaldo, Rooney. Again, any one of them could have wore the captain's armband, but it didn't make any difference to them because you still had leaders out on the pitch, people that were going to bark orders at each other, and ultimately they all wanted to win. And I know you can say that about United at the minute, they all want to win and that, but you have to question certain things in the squad, whether it's dressing room clicks, is Rashford's form dip because of the way that Lingard's supposedly been treated, and you just don't know how it's going on. And that's why I think it's massive this season or this summer that there is some kind of a rebuild. We need players in there. We need leaders. We really do. When you're looking at Harry Maguire, and I know he wasn't playing today, so I'm not saying him off for that, but again, I will always say he's the man that wears the armband, and this is the man that supposedly other players are looking to for inspiration, the younger lads, and even the likes of Ilanga in that squad. And I think they'd probably look and think, nah, he's not captain material, this lad. But that's just my opinion, to be honest.
Yeah.
Jordan, your thoughts on why young players don't get developed in the club?
Yeah, just on that point, I think we have to look at the way Pep handled Foden. And I think it does come from the top as much as you need players in the dressing room. We become over-reliant on these players, mainly because of where we are as a club. We have to keep forcing them out. Foden was clearly good enough, or we thought that he was going to go on to be good enough, and he just got wrapped in cotton wool. And you think back of with certain talent that came through, the way Sir Alex used to wrap certain players up in cotton wool, even when we signed Ronaldo for as much money as we signed Ronaldo. It's the way they're managed, but we're just so over-reliant on them. And it's almost like the fan base is turning on the management and turning on the board. So the easiest way to please us is to just keep throwing out a youth player, throw out another youth player. And I just feel like that seems to be the easy way to keep us on side. So for me, it is the dressing room, but it's just as much about the manager. The manager needs to protect these youth players that are coming through.
I think it seems to be a lot more is pushed on English players. And you think of tournaments that England have been to, for instance, the likes of Rooney was pushed out. Remember, did he have a metatarsal injury? Was that before? Was that the Euros? We've had David Beckham, same crack, metatarsal, push him out. Yeah. And only most recently, let's not forget, one thing that I always slag Marcus Rashford off for before the Euros, he knew that he needed this operation. So what was he doing at the Euros? Manchester United is his main bread and butter. He should have been having that operation saying, I can't play at the Euros. He goes to the Euros, barely plays, comes on, misses a penalty. And you could have been sort of fully up to speed by now. Whereas it was our loss at Manchester United. And I do think it's heavily put on the English side of players. Whoever is here is hyped up by the English press, and the hopes and dreams of the nation are all pinned on the next. Whether it was Greenwood at the time, Rashford had it, Rooney, and you go back, and they just try, and it's too much for them sometimes. That what is heaped on him. The expectancy level is absolutely huge, and that. England's the only nation, I don't know of any other nation that the pressure like that is just thrown on certain individuals. Basically, he's going to win us a World Cup. No, he's not.
That's a very interesting point there, Kevin. The pressure heaped on the young English players by the English media, and when they go into a tournament, they're expected to win the damn thing, and then when they come back, then after not winning historically, which happens every tournament, they're vilified by away fans and vilified in the media. So maybe there is something in that. Guys, so
Jay,
go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I would just say, if they don't want to be vilified by the English media, then some of them should have just stayed Irish.
Oh,
all right. That's just
okay. Let's clear up the Declan Rice thing once and for all. Declan Rice was sitting on the bench. I don't know what it was, a Euros qualifier or World Cup qualifier. And all Martin Neal had to do was bloody send him on as a sub. And he's Irish. So that's that cleared up once and for all. Guys, somebody in the comments has said something that's really got on my tits. He says, and I won't embarrass him by saying his name, I'll just say what he says. No excuses. Ronaldo and Bruno are shocking players. Discuss. I'm not even going to give him the gravitas of saying his name.
It's pointless. Like, it's just...
That's the level now we're dealing with right now in the comments, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, like, come on.
There's no like argument in that, because you'd have to be an absolute fool to have an opposite, like, to agree with that. You'd have to be a fool. So, like, to argue against that would give it credit.
Listen,
but, like, we're just not going to.
I'm not going to name the person, because obviously the person wants his name to be read out, and if I read it out, then I'd be probably called a bully by other fans. So I'm not even going to name him. So anyway, that's the level we're dealing with today. We've a super chat here from Red Devil Stang, a US chap, and he says, Bears mentioned that both players and admin are the only parts of the club that haven't changed much over the last few years. I'm assuming that maybe he's referring to the Chicago Bears American football team. That's the only thing I can get from that. Anyway, thanks for super chat. We'll drive on.
That is not the Chicago.
Jordan! Jordan, England 17, Wales 12. You're back in the game, mate.
Yeah,
Come on, Wales!
The Dragons have roared 63 minutes, guys.
Right. So, you know what? I actually want to go and watch the rest of that game. I know Jordan wants to sit down and watch it and enjoy it. And all of a sudden, Joe has become an ardent Wales fan.
Yeah.
So
it's anyone but England, okay?
So on that note, I want to thank each and every one of you today, gentlemen, for coming on for another group therapy session. I want to thank everybody for watching. It's grasping yet another draw from the jaws of the victory. Yeah. And that's what it is. That's what we've become. So before we go, give the people watching your Twitter or Facebook or handles or whatever you want so they can interact with you and have the crack. Joe, off you go, mate.
You can find me on Twitter at Acting Joe and find me on Instagram at JoeYourOwnWay_. And just send me lovely things, because it's been a miserable day. But aside from being... at least I get to be met with these beautiful faces where we get to do therapy together. So that's been all bad. And come on, Wales.
Jordan.
At Jordan Valley's Twitter, at Jordan Valley's UK on Insta.
Kev.
At Kevin Ashford 7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Grindr. I'm only joking.
Oh, Kevin.
What twist?
Kevin Ashford.
I'm not on Instagram. I'm only joking.
I wouldn't have thought. And that bombshell. Listen, Kevin is taking the piss. I know
What
Kevin well is taking the piss.
What a guy!
The guy's a legend. He's an absolute legend. So he is. I'm JDailyUTD on Instagram if you want the fitness and nutrition stuff, and Twitter for everything football related. Everybody, please like, subscribe, and share, and get in the comments, because we do read them, and if there's anything worth responding to, we will certainly respond. So guys, until next time, I wish you all a lovely weekend, and we will see you all live again during March again.